Alright, the intention of this video is to go over some of the drawing and modifying commands that we've taught in week 2. I'm going to start with lines, L for line, and then you click the specific point, and then you click the next point that you'd like it to go to. You notice these orange boxes that are showing up. These are what we call O snaps. You can turn those on and off by pressing F3. F3 will toggle the O snaps on, and toggle them off and toggle them back on. If you'd like to edit the O snaps, down here at the bottom you can see that this, and there's a pop-up that says Object Snap. You can right-click on that and you can select the ones you want. I frequently only have endpoint and node selected. Sometimes I use intersections, sometimes I use others, but I frequently only have those selected. So when I draw a line, if I want to pick a specific endpoint or a specific node, or excuse me, O snap, let's say it's snapping to endpoint right now, but I want it to really snap to midpoint, I can hold the shift key on the left side of and I can right click and all the O snaps show up. So then I can isolate a specific O snap. So as an example, I have a snap to midpoint, so now it'll only show the midpoints of lines until I click, and then it goes back to my standard O snaps that I have selected. So that's an important tool. A for arcs, or you can type in arc. The arc will ask you, it gives you an option. Anytime you see an option down here at the bottom, that is, you see the square brackets with a word in it, typically the first letter will be capitalized. If you type in that capital letter, so C for center, that will allow you to select that option. So I'm going to select the center of the arc, and then I'm going to select the start point, and then I can select the distance around the arc that I want. That's as an example. Another arc option is you can do 3 points. You can do the beginning, you can do a midpoint, and then you can do an end point. That's another option for an arc. So arc is an A for arc. Circles, C for circle. You can click on the center point, and then you just expand it out to the radius that you want, or you can type in a specific radius like 50, and that'll create a circle that's 50. You can also circle, again, if you look at the options shown there, it says specify radius, or there's an option to do diameter. So if you want the diameter to be 50, you select D and then type in 50, and it'll give you a diameter of 50 based on the center point. So that's how you do circle, and it's a C for circle. Shapes, there's a polygon, I believe it's polygon, and you can click, you can enter the number of sides, so I'm going to do 5 just as an example. And then it'll ask you want it inscribed in the circle or circumscribed around about the circle. I'm going to say I for inside, and then I'm going to extend that out to the radius of the circle that this thing will be circumscribed within. Essentially what this means is from the center of this polygon out to a specific radius of a circle that touches all the points along this polygon. You can do it the other way. Again, we can do 5-sided, and then we can say that we want it to be circumscribed, so that will make it such that there is a circle that will fit within inside this polygon. It'll touch at the midpoints of the polygon. So it just depends on what you're trying to do with polygon, but that's how you can do a shape. If you want to hatch this, in other words, if you want to put some sort of shading inside of it, type H for hatch or type in hatch. And it allows you to select either pick points. I typically do not use pick points because it's a little bit more time consuming. I usually add a polygon or a closed figure. So we'll use this polygon that we just created, and I'll click on this button. It'll ask me which figure I want to include. I'll click on it and I'll hit enter. And then I can select here from the different types of patterns. I can select a series of patterns that, as an example, I use gravel frequently, and I can click OK. Now, depending on the scale of that specific pattern will depend on how it shows. So you can see this, the scale is much too small, it's too dense. So I'm going to click on this hatch. You notice it also bogs down the computer because it's so dense. So I'm going to click on this hatch, I'm going to right click, and there's hatch edit. I'm going to click on that. It's going to bring up the hatch screen again. I'm going to change the scale up to 10 because I know that that's probably going to be a better representation. I can do a preview and it shows me. Now it looks like something that I can determine, not just a big blob. So I'm going to click OK, and that saves it. A hatch has specific properties. It's bounded by a certain area. In this particular case, it's by the perimeter of this polygon. We could have used points to do the same similar idea. Be very careful when you're doing hatches. You need to use polygons, closed polygons, or polylines that close. And we'll move on to Polyline here in just a minute. But if you do a polyline and go around, you need to make sure that polyline closes, otherwise the hatch will not work. So as an example, if I type in PL for polyline, or type it out, polyline, sorry, poly, now type in PL for polyline. I can click several times and I can get close, but this doesn't close. And frequently this happens where you accidentally snap and the endpoint is super close to the endpoint of the origin, but it's not closed. If I try to hatch this, if I add selected objects, it won't let me do it because, or you can see that it inserts something that doesn't quite work. So now everything's all messed up. So you don't want to do that. So what you can do is you can type in pedit, and that stands for polyline edit. You can select a polyline, and then you can select all these different options. You can either join sections to the polyline, you can deal with the width, you can change vertices, you can fit it, spline it, you can do lots of different things. In this case, I'm going to actually close it. So that closed my polyline. Now if I hatch it again, the hatch isn't the correct scale, but you can see that now it closes and it doesn't look weird. So that's just an example of polyline. So again, polyline is PL for polyline, and then you click to where you need to. The snaps work just the same. It's the same idea. So that concludes this portion of this video on how to draw the different drawing commands. These are available in the drawing bar on the left side as well.